black lines are actually walls with the green lines are edges. Except that the level of detail that you wanted to be able to get in. Now, because I said that we were a data project, we can actually show this data in different ways. And one of the most famous in our little group is the cycle map. And the reason that we have the cycle map is because it shows all the cycle routes throughout Edinburgh. In fact, we had people from Edinburgh Council yesterday working along with SotMScot13. Although there's lots of little groups and they kind of work alongside each other, but not necessarily control each other, but we have a mutual respect for each other and we do kind of similar kind of things. But the cycle map, I love the way that I describe the cycle map, because they wanted to show where all the cycle shops were. They wanted to, so there's all the cycle shops, they wanted to see the routes, they wanted to see where the hills were, they wanted to know where all the pubs were and all the toilets.
There's also cafes that do fry-ups.
Cafes that do fry-ups, so all the essential things that you need for cycling. They've got, there's a lot of, so that's the big community. Cycle Streets is an app that you can get on your phone based on our data, on the OpenStreetMap data, and that will allow you to plan your journeys and stuff like that. Very, very popular with cyclists. If you're a cyclist, Sean's your man knows all about these things. Another layer, as we call them, is the transport layer, and this shows the bus routes and the trains and stuff like that. We've got quite an enthusiastic group of train spotter kind of people that just love being able to make sure that the trains looks really, really good. If we go into Waverley Station, we haven't actually got a headlight yet. We actually get to see where the different platforms are. We've just recently been added the humanitarian level, layer, which I'm very pleased at, and the humanitarian map is there for use for emergency areas. We've got a group of people who are known as the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, and they are working to help people in developing countries. Usually they have to respond to something like an emergency. We've got floods, earthquakes, things like that. And then we get called upon to help with other groups like Ushahidi or Map Action. We have been recognised by the United Nations in helping with like certain things. So I'm just going to go and take you to a place that I know. I'm pretty sure it's quite well mapped. And this is a place in Zaire, Democratic Republic of Congo. And the reason that I know this is because there's this place called Goma. And I used to travel a lot in Africa a long time ago, and when I was in Goma, they had, let's take a look here. It was a little village of about 3 blocks long, and about 3 weeks after I left there was the Rwandan genocide, and 250,000 people turned up going across the border to Goma. And this is the city that has arrived there over such a short time. But we also see things like there's a refugee camp in Dadaab, which is on the border of, you might have heard about it recently, the border of Kenya and Somalia. What happened was there was a war in Somalia, all these refugees came out, they all came into Kenya wouldn't allow them into the country, so they just held them on the border. They were there for 20 years. And it wasn't until last year that we had a map of that refugee camp. 400,000 people living there for 20 years. All this aid going in, they're actually being fed by internationally, but they can't go back, they can't come forward. but it's if we have a map, we can actually highlight what it is that they exist almost. Right. So if I'm looking at the map, one of the things that we do is that we allow people to edit our map. Now anybody can edit our map or our map data, and this is a kind of a bit of a scary thing for people at first. They're very worried about if they are going to cause damage and if they're going to bring down the internet. But they're not going to be doing that. I'll just go there. Oops. That's not sign up. Okay. I'll just sign in. Okay, so if I wanted to go into this part of Goma and edit it, after I've signed in, I would just click edit. And this is going to come up with an online editor we call Potlatch. It's the one that I'm kind of familiar with. There's a new one, which is also a choice that will be available to you. And when we're looking at editing this data, there's only three things that you need to worry about. There's dots, there's lines, and there's areas. And then what we do is we associate some information with that
Switch to ID.
Where is this?
It's in the top, the triangle edit.
Up, left, between.
Yeah,
In the triangle.
in the triangle. Choose ID.
Let's try ID since we've not used that before.
You might want to explain why it says Central America at the top corner.
Oh, Central America. That's my name. I chose my name because I used to volunteer a lot in Central America, and I wanted to help the people there.
No, I'm sorry, I've missed. What country is Goma in?
Goma is in Zaire, the country right in the middle of in Africa. So if I open up this editor, then I can click on this line, and so I'll know that I need to give that line a value, and I know that the value I'm going to give that line is what we call a tag, which is highway equals street, and then it becomes street. And the way when I give it that value, then that's how it shows up on the map. It'll show up as a white line. But I also know what it is. But it might be just a dot or a node, and it might be, so I might put like traffic symbols or a level crossing. I can choose what I want to call these, but I can do this within the browser. I'm not going to really do very much more than that. I just wanted to emphasize the point that it really is just dots and lines and areas, and then we give these small pieces of information a list of other things, and it could be land use equals industrial, it could be highway equals roundabout, or cycle. There's actually lots and lots and lots of these tags.
And one of the nice things about the ID editor is you don't need to deal with the tags quite as much.
Yes.
It's more if you're doing advanced stuff that you need
Yeah, I mean the web editor, when you use it first, it was specifically made for people who are new to OpenStreetMap, and it will essentially guide you through it. I mean, if I wanted to...
There is a special demo mode as well for it as well.
Yeah, so, and the only thing that you really need to know is if you're doing it for the first time is that if you don't click save at the end of it, you won't have destroyed anything, so you can play around with it quite safely. Alright. Right. So that's that's the database. But people who are using OpenStreetMap, once they've got this data, and it's a lot of data now, we've got about I think, in fact, it might just be today, we've got 1.4 million people have like signed up to OpenStreetMap. We've been going, is it 9 years?
Yeah.
9 years? We got the when was it confirmed?
2004.
2004. So it's been going for a long time, and so we're pretty well established. It's been recognised a lot by people that are in. It's starting to get recognised by people that work with geographical information professionally. One of the reasons they actually got started at was because it used to be very expensive to be able to work with this kind of information. I mean, if you wanted to use the Ordnance Survey, you needed to pay £5,000 to get a licence to be able to use it, and not very many people could afford that, so it was started up and started to make their own data and start mining out of that data. And you can do it for free. But we have a lot of people that are using it for, say, for example, local community projects. I know that there is a lady in Edinburgh. She's just mapped the local garden, which is over in Duddingston, and she made an app out of the data, so that just for her own little group that she got on there. But we've had work from Dunbar, or all sorts of other little groups. So I'm going to show you, go back to the map for a moment. It's not particularly, we're working on it, it's not particularly kind of friendly way of being able to get in contact with people or find out more about it. There is lots of information on how to do things if we go to documentation, and unfortunately this is it's quite kind of scary, because it's a wiki which gets kind of messy. But what I would suggest is if you go to the search and you type in Edinburgh, then it'll take you to the Edinburgh page, and we'll point it here where you can come and meet us in the park. And we'll be able to explain everything for you. I mean, you can work it out yourself if you want, but we'll be able to help you with it. There's lots of like little questions and things like that. Okay, so the best way, if we were actually wanting to learn how to use OpenStreetMap, is we've got a hack day tomorrow, which is along at TechCube, and I'll be able to sit down with you more kind of one-to-one, and we'll just like walk through doing like the first edits and kind of take the fear out of that kind of stuff. But what I'm going to show you kind of where it's going is we've just got this is using OpenStreetMap data, and I don't know if you can see this really well, but this is Red Square, and we've got I think so we're near here, we should see Lenin's tomb. It is over there. And interestingly enough, so this is 3D maps based on a different type of technology that we're usually using. Although it's not really happening today, I was looking at this the other day, and they put the weather over it, so it was snowing, which is all very, very cute and stuff like that. But there's the potential of where we're going to be going with the data is huge.
Can I ask a quick question? How do you validate data? You know, if everybody can contribute, who's to say that the person who's putting it in isn't making a mistake or using a GPS that's vastly out or whatever? What's the open source process for showing quality?
That's a very good question. It's a kind of it's a little bit kind of chaotic. If I go back to the Edinburgh page, I'm going to show you this one thing. It's called Keep Right. We've got a number of these different kind of things. Once you've learned to edit, usually what happens is that people who are in one particular area, they follow the examples of what's happening elsewhere. and then they look at, they copy what they've got going on there. We've got a couple of things like this, which what it does is it shows, we've got computers vetting to see if something looks right or doesn't look right, and we can come up with all these different types of errors like this. I'll just show you what's missing, what's not correct about the data. So that's one way of doing it.
So is that a manual process, or are you seeing it as a...
It's a computer process to bring up these possible errors, and then a manual process to go through. So some people use OpenStreetMap for there's lots of different reasons for doing it. Some is for creating a map. Some people just use it as almost, you can do things this, you can do a lot of it. It's quite relaxing in a way, because if you get used to it, you just kind of do it, and it just kind of cleans things up. So it's kind of like a big jigsaw.
There's a simple answer to your question, which is other people.
Right, is that it? Yeah, so
If somebody puts in something which is wrong, there's a fair chance that it gets picked up, and if it's in somewhere popular, there's a fair chance it gets picked up really quickly. If it's somewhere in the middle of nowhere, it might be years. It might be years, but eventually somebody will come along and say this is not quite
I mean,
right.
I can see an example like Edinburgh is very heavily mapped, and obviously the quality and the peers that you're working in is a big group. But if you were to go to, I don't know, Peebles or Hoyk, somewhere like that, if there isn't that community, somebody could be doing it. And then I'm just thinking, if you've got humanitarian or you've got government, they're using it as a core data set, then is that core data set, it's just...
As you use it, as people start using it, it's corrected as it goes. So I did this 2 or 3 days ago. On Tuesday, I was out in Falkirk, following the track for the John Muir Way that I was saying yesterday. There was a place where it didn't make sense. That's not on the map. I got back to the office 2 hours, 3 hours later, and I didn't take it right off because there was a bit I hadn't surveyed. But what I did was I took away the link that I had checked wasn't there and put a note on it saying, I don't think this is here.
So it's almost like anybody using open source, OpenStreetMap, needs to understand there's a caveat.
But that's true with all maps, though.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I started using OpenStreetMap was because I was annoyed with commercial maps that had errors in them, and there was nothing I could do about it. What tends to happen in OpenStreetMap a lot is people feel they sort of take an ownership of their area, not sort of officially, but they sort of have a pride in the mapping they've done. They don't like the idea of somebody coming along and screwing it up, so they often tend to watch new edits and things like that and go, that's not quite right.
There's also people like in the UK, there's like a IRC channel, which basically the first time you make an edit, it'll come up on that, and you can probably bet that 3 or 4 people will look at your first edit. And actually there's these things happening in the background, people looking at changes, what's changed, and there's tools that will help do that. So, and I think generally once you've made it, if you as a regular, you tend to learn people's usernames, so the regular users you'll see and you'll go, yeah, I know they're good. If you see a new name pop up, you might have a look at what they've been doing.
And what he showed you there, the Keep Right thing, that's just one QA tool that we have, and quite a lot of people, quite a lot of us are working on various different QA tools which together sort of cover quite a lot of cases, flag up potential errors. In fact, that's possibly one of the heaviest areas of working with OpenStreetMap, people work on QA tools.
I don't think there's ever been a case where somebody's totally screwed something up and nobody's noticed for the bigger the screw up, the quicker someone's going to notice. And the small changes tend to be genuine errors, or someone's made the wrong note.
Well, having said that,
and they don't happen very often.
There was a famous case of Andy Allen leaving. There was a particular error outside. Let's not go into that one.
Sounds like
he was testing.
He probably purposed his area where
there was a particular error outside London Bridge Station. He was just leaving it to see how long it takes to get fixed. And I think maybe it still hasn't, but I think it was.
Why haven't you fixed it?
Because I don't want to screw up his experiment.
Everyone does that.
Actually, everybody knows about the experiment. We're all holding back from it.
Right, I'm going to just going to bring it back because I'm running out of time here. I'm just going to show you a quick video. This video that a lot of people have been seeing. It's about what happened after the earthquake in Haiti. It's a very, very quick video. It's basically what happened was in Haiti there was the earthquake happened, which we should be seeing quite soon. I'm not getting it quite enough.
Is that days along the left there?
It's along the left. It's days,
Days a month.
and then it's just taking a long time to stream down. But the earthquake happened, and then we got given. Take too long. We got given satellite imagery of Haiti, and then 600 volunteers mapped the entire country in 2 weeks. And it was the default map used by all the aid agencies that went into Haiti. Those little blue marks that you're seeing are they're the refugee camps. So that's when this happened. That's when OpenStreetMap started getting attention about the potential power of what it can do. So I'm running out of time now. I didn't get to see even the beginnings stuff. But if you want to learn, tomorrow would be a much better day because we've got to be quite in this conference mode. The only other thing that I've got to mention is that next year, this particular conference area is going to be closed. It's going to be changed into a robotics lab, and we're going to be needing a new place to have our conference. We need a kind of a lecture theatre and maybe some sponsorship for some food. So if you've got any ideas, let me know, and I'll see if I can put up some information to get so that we can plan for next year. Not that any planning is really going to start until about 3 months beforehand, but it would be really nice if we could get a location, because this place is going to be closed. So we have got, the next along is Skyscanner. I'm going to, so this we'll have about 5 minutes to set up, so this is a chance to get the coffee, so I think the hot water will be ready now.